All right, it is January of 2026, and for the new year, I told myself I'd film some YouTube videos. Been known to spend many an hour watching shop tours and whatnot, so I figured I'd put mine out there for the people to see. It's in my garage. My garage is a 20 by 20, kind of standard two-car garage. I've got it kind of sectioned off. Okay. So I wanted to kind of interject myself here before we start this tour of the full shop, and I guess just kind of introduce myself, because when I was just going to upload this as is, but when I was editing it, I realized there needs to be some context added. Who am I? Why are you watching this? What is this about? Beyond just being a shop tour. So my name is Chris Grundberg. I'm 39 years old, and I guess the gist of it is that I really love shops. I've always been obsessed with them. There's a moment that I kind of can point back to. Wanted to show you guys this photo here. This is a photo of my dad and I in front of a very cool Ferrari. It was not my dad's. It was a friend of ours. But what I really wanted to point out in this photo is the house in the background. The house in the background is the house across the street from my parents' place where I grew up. And a couple named Jack and Tally lived there. They were both high school teachers, and they were kind of the first people that introduced me to a shop environment and working with my hands. Their garage was just full of tools and very cool woodworking equipment, and they were always doing fun projects and would include me and teach me how to use tools. They were renovating an Airstream for the longest time when I was about this age in this photo, and I could go over there pretty much whenever, and they were so inviting and just would let me help them. So I think that kind of sparked a portion of it. And I think about, there's always been mentors or important people in my life, and they've always been shop teachers or people that are running shops commercially, or they've always had an impact when I look back on where I am in my life and what I've accomplished. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of give a little bit of context there of I just love shops, and I felt like it was time to share mine with the world. So I guess quickly, these are all things I want to go over in future videos, but quickly I want to go over kind of experience. In high school, I took 4 years of wood shop and 3 years of metal shop. Right out of high school, I was welding because of that experience for a couple of years. I ended up fishing commercially in Alaska, which you do all sorts of things from, you basically get an education in every single trade that there is. Boats are always breaking down. There's always something to do on them. In the middle of all that, in college, I was skiing and snowboarding a lot and started filming action sports, skiing, snowboarding, and mountain biking. And that eventually led to a job at a company called Freehub Media. That's what's right here. Freehub produced this magazine. It was a quarterly publication, very coffee table style, very high quality. It was a dream job, and you got to do all sorts of things in the physical media space, physical and digital media space. We also produced another magazine called Craft MTN for a number of years. It was a very cool time, and I got to do a lot of really, really cool stuff. But that's kind of a bunch of filming and digital media experience. Most recently, when I left Freehub, I went back to school. I went to the local tech college and did a machining program, which was very, very cool, very fulfilling. I would highly recommend anybody that's thinking about, learning a trade to just do it. It was so much fun. And I'll talk more about that in a future video as well. But I don't know, I just wanted to give a little bit of context of who I am and why you're watching this real quick. So back to the tour, and I hope you enjoy it, and thank you for watching. The shop space itself is about 15 by 15 feet. I've got a temporary wall with some insulation and then some extrusion doors that I scored from a dumpster from a local company that was shutting down. This side of the wall is moving blankets and just, like painter's tarps hung up. Contains all the dirtiness from the rest of the house stuff. Back here I've got bike storage and house stuff. Typical garage, you fill it with way too much stuff. But let's go on in. So you just kind of pull these aside and you can walk in. Do a quick scan here for you. This is, looking out that way again, house stuff. We've got just that wall, a few things, whiteboard. All right, so I guess I'll start with kind of showing the 4 different sides. This is kind of more of what is the clean side, I guess. We got some books, a 3D printer, the little cabinet down there beneath is just full of electronic stuff, computers, chop saw lives down there, and just a bunch of kind of random wood scraps that I have. Scored this sweet desk from my girlfriend's dad. He retired and didn't really have a home for it, so took it off his hands. Up here you can see I've got a piece of canvas that I can pull down when I'm making a lot of dust to try to keep things off of here. A couple of pieces of art back there. This is my boy Steve Smith, astronaut. He came to my elementary school. I don't know, I was like 3rd or 4th grade. He signed a photo for me, one of my most prized possessions. But yeah, I kind of got a little 3D printer thing here. Well, before we go any further, this is Oscar. He's the shop dog. He's the real boss around here. This is his spot under, good boy, under the desk where he'll sit with me. Keeps my feet warm when it's cold. So as you can tell, I got a little oil heater there. Kind of more of the electronic side. This is computers. I got a little TV up there to watch YouTube videos and whatnot. But like a clean desk, computers down there. Storage over here is, a bunch of camera stuff. So that's kind of the clean side. Look at it again there. This is, the one wall. I eventually want to put up a more permanent wall behind there with some more insulation to help keep it warmer in here in the winter months. But then you kind of come over to this side. This is more of like storage and tools and whatnot. So in here, it's all the grinders and different things and disc sanders. Hammers. Bunch of random electronics. Pliers. Screwdrivers. And this is kind of more of the quick things, your drill sets, and gotta have snacks. Got some snacks in there. And then up is just kind of more storage. Tapes, hooks, abrasives, specialty bits, Triton sander, empty containers. You start collecting, all those empty containers, and they start piling up. Right here, just got a little Bluetooth speaker and some more just general storage. It's kind of, I guess, one of the main benches. I got a cutting pad. Actually just scored this from the local restore for 20 bucks. So I gotta find a spot to put that. All this right here is kind of my current project, working on cleaning some of these old car parts. I like the shapes. These old cast aluminum car parts are pretty cool. You can't let them go to the landfill. And try to make some lamps out of them, I think. Still figuring it out, though. Oh yeah, up here we've got an old kitchen hood that I use for like fume extraction. There's some lights and 2 heat lamps up there too. So got that piped out up through a vent in the rafters. Up here's some more random storage of stuff. This is the automatic tool changer for the Tormach. Just paper towels, tumbling machine. That's a really cool old microscope that used to be my grandpa's. We'll have to look at that at another later date sometime. You know, then we got all our rags and storage and gloves. And, you know, all the little bits and bobs and trinkets, I guess, collect here. We got the tooling for the Tormach, which we are about to get to. This whole cabinet is dedicated to machining stuff. So, you know, got our bits and everything, some metrology equipment in here. We got new tooling, drill bits. We've got ER40 collet. This is a probe and an automatic tool setter that I have yet to even try or use. What else we got? More stuff for holding things down and vices, and more kind of storage in here. Side, it's a bunch of old micrometers and gauge pins, and I don't know, I bought a whole lot of this old machinist stuff, so there's a whole lot of random things in there. Machinist squares. Some of the bits I use to tighten things down, a torque wrench. We got tap and die set there. Some more kind of random old metrology equipment. Some of this my current boss gave to me. He wasn't using them anymore, but kind of got some cool old wooden boxes and, you know, some old Starrett stuff. These are all really cool old how to read a micrometer caliper, kind of old papers and stuff. Can't get myself to throw it away, so it stays. These are just random storage. All the like tool holders. These are really nice little things, but I have them all out, so they're empty. So yeah, that tool chest is kind of dedicated to all the machining stuff. Back in this corner, it's more kind of material storage. So up there, I've got shorter lengths. In the corner, there's longer lengths. You can see I got a few more car parts that hopefully will eventually turn into some art. Some holding down stuff and some cleaning tools. An old cabinet with a very random assortment of material, aluminum, and I got the argon tank for my welder. I got a dehumidifier in here that I run when it gets really wet, so keep things from rusting. You know, fire extinguisher. And then if you squeeze back behind here, we have the coolant tank and the dedicated air compressor that I use for the Tormach here. And then just some more random materials. So that kind of leads us to this side of the shop, which I guess is more dedicated to metalworking, machining. We got a Tormach PCNC 440. It's very cool little machine. We can maybe go into more detail about it at a later date, but this is kind of what I've centered most of the shop around. It's got this swing out desk here, or computer, and what controls everything. I added this manual controller because it's a lot better than the one it comes with. There's storage down below for a bunch of different stuff. I have the micro fourth axis down here, which I've yet to set up. Manual, and this is kind of cool. We made these. I went to machining school at the local tech college, and we made all these boxes and 3D printed these inserts for everybody graduating so they could put their metrology stuff in there and have a to-go little case. I think this is a really cool piece. It turned out great. I have yet to put a little latch on it, but I don't really travel with it very much, so keep that under there. But yeah, it's and as you can tell, I've got, when I'm not using it and I'm making dust, I put this cover over it. It's actually an old headliner for a car, and this is a piece that can go over the computer screen to keep it clean. Up here I've got another curtain that it's pulled back right now, but it's just another way to section things off to keep it clean in here. I got another little pancake air compressor that I use, random house stuff or travel with or whatever you need. I've got a table saw here that doesn't get very much use. It's kind of disassembled a little bit. Future project, I want to build like a dedicated piece of wood that can slip over it. I've got a little belt sander. I actually just got this the other day. I use one at work all the time. They're super handy. And a ultrasonic cleaner back here. I'm actually borrowing that. I see if I want to borrowing that from my boss, see if I actually want to buy one myself. They're pretty handy though, but can't have your dog in there when you're running it, so Oscar doesn't really like it. Down here I've got some more that's old transmission parts from a Mercedes that eventually turned into some art pieces or something, and some old more old car parts that will eventually turn into something, hopefully. So this section is kind of tucked away right now. As you can see, I've got my welder, which is a TIG welder. It's a prime weld. I've got it on this cart, and I've also got a plasma cutter down here, which I don't use very often, but it's pretty handy to have. It makes a lot of dust. So, but yeah, I have this on the cart so I can kind of roll it around. And then right here, I've got, it's a Smithy kind of mill lathe combo. Actually, when I went back to school, when I went to the local tech college for machining, my uncle was like, you can have this. I've had it in my garage for 20 years and I never used it. He got it at some garage sale for a couple $100 from the guy that was just trying to get rid of it. Really handy machine. I kind of honestly use it as a glorified drill press, but it's pretty capable. It can cut threads and it can do a lot if you're patient with it. But it's a pretty cool machine. I've just got it up on a little table, and I've got under here is just a welding table that's got, it's got all the holing spaced and all that sort of stuff. And then a Triton oscillating disc sander and a metal chop saw down there. But it conveniently fits right under there, so when I'm not welding anything, I can kind of tuck things away. This I welded up, just it's like an old disc rotor and some pipe that I can keep my little bench grinder on and move that around the shop. Just a little bit of storage for welding stuff and stuff for the combo machine here. Yeah. Move that back over. So got a few pieces of art and a whiteboard, which is handy. A couple, clothing pieces. It gets cold in here, and I wear this when I weld. I showed that earlier. Gotta keep exercising in the winter months, so that's in here right now. And then in the center, I have kind of just a big table. I got an old countertop from the Restore here in town. This is more of that extrusion, the same that's like in the wall over here that I use to kind of hodgepodge this together. I think it took a while, but I eventually gathered enough pieces to kind of make this happen, but it is definitely hodgepodge together. But I've got a little stool that can go up and down. It's one of those like wobbly ones that I use it when I weld and if I'm sitting everywhere else. Obviously garbage and just a little shop vac and then a little shelf with a little hand broom. Got to keep things clean. So this is actually the latest thing that I put in here. This shop has kind of gone through, I don't know, 3 or 4 major iterations. I'll put a bunch of photos up here of kind of the evolution of it. Pretty happy with where it's at currently. I can try to be able to do anything and everything in here, so it's a great space. And I guess up top I put some just the strip LED lighting, and I hung some of that foam insulation to try to keep it warm in here. This whole garage is basically uninsulated, so yeah, I mean that's the basic tour of the layout. Maybe I'll hopefully go into some more videos about details of things around here, but in general, this is 20 years worth of collecting tools and machines. I had a coworker come over the other day, and he's 21 and was absolutely blown away. He was like, "Wow, where did you get all this stuff? This is so cool." And that was part of the inspiration of like, okay, I should actually film a little shop tour and start kind of making some videos here. So hopefully I'll keep it up. Future projects that I do want to do in here, kind of mentioned one of building something that's dedicated and maybe some walls to cover that, to kind of contain some dust when I'm using that right there. This whole wall, I'm hoping to build something out and put some insulation in. I've slowly been adding, you can see above the garage up there, I've been adding insulation pieces, and in the corner I've added some insulation that I've just gotten from friends building projects where they've had extra stuff. So, I'll very rarely has anything been bought brand new in here. I mean, minus the Tormach was bought brand new. But a lot of this stuff was hand-me-downs or, Facebook Marketplace or getting it from the Restore. So I guess I'll say hi to Oscar again He's our shop dog around here. He's a little bored right now, but he's the prince. He's the king around here. Yeah, we'll give it kind of one more little look around. We've got clean side. Oh, that reminds me, if I do build a wall here with some insulation and stuff, I want to put like a track right here with these canvas tarps to be able to section this whole area off, because I've got this right now which covers it, but if I could cover all of that, that would be good. Dave Fogler has a really sweet one that I was watching one of his videos the other day. Okay, one more interjection here. I just mentioned Dave Fogler. Dave Fogler runs a YouTube channel called Syndrome. It is very, very cool, from the filming to the art direction to his projects. Dave Fogler has got one of the most inspiring channels. Just the whole feel of it. It is so him, and you can tell that it's like a labor of love. So go check him out. That looks like a fun little project, a little track, and just kind of be able to pull it over and section the whole area off. Yeah, this is my happy place, basically. So I'm stoked to be able to finally, be happy with it to share. And so yeah, leave some comments. I'll hopefully be making some more videos. But yeah, if you got any questions or curious about anything, just let me know, and I am happy to answer them. I hope you all have a good day. Alrighty.